So I'd like to introduce you to the Music Man Ernie Ball guitars. These are the ones that are the Steve Morse model, so I actually know something about them. We'll start with the middle one. This was 30 years ago, was the guitar that I designed with Ernie Ball. That switch should be down for normal playing. It's complicated switching wise, but it's very versatile. Light wood, lively sound, lots of options here. When I go to the master volume, it falls in hand easily. I use my pinky for that, and same with the tone control. When I practice with this guitar, just like all my guitars, it has to balance. It has to, you set it on your knee and it's perfect. So you can practice for hours, and I have. There's 22 frets, not 24, because this pickup has to be closer to the center of the string in order to get that fatness that helps give me my sound. When I'm playing up high, instead of using the lead pickup, I'm using the neck pickup. That fattens up the sound quite a bit. Again, that's sort of part of my sound. The combinations that I can get with 3 switches and 4 pickups give it a lot of versatility, like I said. One of the main things that I do with the guitar, going through a high gain amplifier, a tube amp, is to go from the humbucking to a single coil pickup, bring down the volume to about half. And on my guitars, I normally push the single coil pickups far down so it cuts the level. Now suddenly I've got a really usable, a lot of clarity that I can play arpeggiated parts or whatever. I can do little rhythm things. I can actually have dynamics while I'm playing through a high gain amp. Then just like that, it's all you need to do, and you're back full volume. So this is the original guitar. When I joined Deep Purple, I felt like I needed a little bit stronger rock and roll sound for some of the songs. And we came up with the Y2D. It was a takeoff on the Y2K hysteria that was in 2000. But this was Y2D, D for decade. So 20 years after my first guitar, this was what we came out with. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit more of a rock sound. I discovered that with Purple, I was using 5 sounds. So these pickups and this multi-pole switch, it's this, these 2, this, and then these 2, and then that. You can't do that wiring with a normal 5-way switch. So that's why it's a multi-pole switch. Clear pickguard so you can see everything. Pickguard's important for me for spacing the hand, not just for protecting the finish. And once again, when you go to practice, just set it on your knee and leave it. It's balanced. The same deal with the frets. This pickup needs to be here, and you can't do that with 24 frets. So that's part of the sound. If I need to play high E, I'll just bend it. No big deal. Tone and volume right where you want them. So this is a great guitar for somebody playing rock. And over here, because I took over playing some of the classic tunes that Richie Blackmore did in Deep Purple. Since we still do a lot of those songs, I needed a whammy bar guitar that was easy for me to play. The best solution was to simply incorporate a floating bridge, basically almost like the early days of whammy bar high-tech guitars. It works perfectly for me, stays in tune really well, has a slightly different sound, of course, because it's a different bridge. But this is the guitar they use for about 3 Deep Purple tunes in a typical set. And this is a guitar that I use for maybe 7 or 8 songs in a typical Deep Purple set. And I do like a little solo section with my old number 1 from 30 years ago. This is a quilted maple top. And again, the finish was so beautiful, I asked them to put clear pick guards on these, just so people can see the workmanship. Frets are medium jumbo, and one of the distinguishing things on a music band is you have a straight string pull. See, none of the strings pull off to the tuning. They go straight, and at a shorter distance than like a typical Fender or something like that. And a typical Gibson will have a little bit of an angle, so you get more friction across the nut when you're tuning. And when you stretch a string, you're changing the tension. And if you have any friction, you'll have a different tension here than here after you finish stretching the string. And that will equalize at some unfortunate point later on when you're trying to play an open E chord or something like that. So this also has a compensated nut, with the fulcrums and the ramps slightly different in order to accommodate the fact that the wound string is different from the unwound string. Anyway, this is all adjustable and very versatile guitar. It's all I use.